Shalom, shalom, brother Zayin. First, I want to give all praise and glory to the Heavenly Father, which is Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. And today's topic is going to be about the Jews or Greeks, the confusion between the Gentiles and Greeks and everything like that. So we're going to cut that up and show that it's still talking about the Israelites, because people, stumble about across that. If you have no knowledge or anything, of course you're going to stumble. But that's why, the prophets are here to tell you about these things so you won't stumble and be deceived and everything. Because throughout the whole Bible is talking about the Israelites. But when you read, Romans and Galatians and everything like that, they think it's talking about everybody else. So let's, get Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 11. Wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision, but that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands. So let's go to verse 2. So what it means by made by hands, I mean your works and everything. You follow the ways of the so-called of the Gentiles, the real Gentiles and everything, which are the so-called white men and the other nations. Let's get verse 2. Wherein in time past you walked according to this course of the world. So you walked in the ways of the world. Who's ruling the world right now? Esau. He's in the rule of the world. He's the one controlling everything. So you walk like him. You like the things that he do. You celebrate the holidays that he celebrate. So you're doing the course of the world. So that basically makes you a Gentile. According to the prince of the power of air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience. So you're doing whatever they do. You're not doing what the Most High is telling you to do, which is to keep the commandments. So let's get 1 Ezra chapter 8. It's verse 69. The nation of Israel, the princes, the priests and Levites, have not put away from their strange people of the land, nor the pollutions of the Gentiles, to wit, of the Canaanites, Hittites, Pharisees, Jebusites, and the Moabites, Egyptians, and the Edomites. So it's telling you who's the strange people, the Gentiles. They haven't put them away. They like doing the things, like doing the things of them, They like doing the things of the Moabites, eating Chinese food, which is just bat and dogs. They like living the ways of the Edomites, the so-called white men. The holidays that they celebrate, Christmas, celebrating your birthday. They love doing those things. They don't want to get away from that, right? So those are the Gentiles. The real Gentiles are the people in here that's listed: the Canaanites, Hittites, Pharisees, Jebusites, and the Moabites, Egyptians, and Edomites, right? So those are the Gentiles and everything, and our people, the Israelites, have to follow their philosophies and their ways. So now let's get 1 Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws, so all the heathen agree according to the commandment of the king. So he's writing a letter to everybody saying, leave your laws and follow the so-called white man's philosophies, right? Verse 43. Yeah, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion. So you got wicked Jakes and everything, getting down with his order. They didn't want to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments from the get-go. They like doing his philosophies, worshiping the false Christ, the so-called white man and everything. Many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. So hey, they working on the Sabbath, having parties on the Sabbath. So these wicked Jakes, they just having fun. They don't care, right? Verse 44. For the king has sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they shall follow the strange laws of the land. So he's going out sending letters to all the Israelites and everything, saying, follow the strange laws. What's the strange laws? These other philosophies that don't pertain to to the Most High, not keeping the commandments. Verse 45. And forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbath and festival days. So they're saying, hey, don't do any more burnt offerings. Don't keep the Sabbath. Don't keep your feast days. That's what's going on right now. Verse 46, and pollute the sanctuary and holy people. 47, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts. So that's what's going on. That's what happened back then. Verse 44. We still like verse 48. That they shall also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation. Verse 49. To the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. So that's crafty counsel. They wanted let me get 50 actually. Verse 50. And whosoever will not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. So look, it's basically he's telling you, if you don't get down with his the so-called white man system and everything, you're gonna die. You had people die for this thing, man. And the Lord requires what happened aforetime to happen again. So this is back on the earth, man. So that's why it's time to wake up at the same time. But now I'm trying to show you the Greeks and everything. So this is talking about the Israelites. So now the people are living like the Gentiles nowadays because they've forgot about the heritage of the Israelite and everything, of Israel. They forgot the heritage. Now we're living like Gentiles. Before you came into this truth, you were a Gentile. If you're still in the world and everything, you are a Gentile. So now let's get 2 Ezra chapter 2. 2 Ezra chapter 2 and verse 33. I, Ezra, received a charge of the Lord upon the Mount Oreb, that I should go unto Israel. But when I came unto them, they set me at naught, and despised the commandment of the Lord. So when Israel was out there, not Israel, Salaki, when Ezra was out there prophesying and everything, trying to, make people return to our heritage, they didn't want to hear it. Wicked Jake, how rebellious they are. Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 9, they just rebellious and stiff-necked people. They don't want to hear about that. They just want to go out and party. They don't want to hear about it. Verse 34, and therefore I say unto you, O you heathen, that hear and understand, look for your shepherd, he shall give you everlasting rest, for he is nigh at hand, that shall come in the end of the world. So Ezra's trying to tell them, hey man, the shepherd, which is Hamashiach, he's trying to return the people unto him back again. Because when all hell breaks loose, he's gonna destroy this place. And what's the end of the world? The end of the world is 2 Ezra chapter 6 and verse 9. Esau's the end of the world, again taking out that power seat. The end of the world is not about the earth exploding or anything. Because the world after that, Jacob, which are the Israelites, they're going to rule, but in righteousness. Right now, the world is given to the hands of the wicked. Paraphrasing. So that's the end of the world. It's Esau again taking out that power seat because he's the one that controls the world right now with wickedness. If you need anything like a business loan or anything, trade, you have to go to the so-called white man. Philosophies, food, you got to go to the so-called white man. Right? Because he's that light. He's that Lucifer. What does Lucifer mean? That light bearer. If people want to, succeed in life and everything, they come to America. Because they know that the so-called white man runs the show right now in America. You got Indian people worshiping 4th of July. How'd that work out? You got Chinese people celebrating Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving. So people have lack of understanding. Especially the Israelites. Right? So now let's get Ezekiel chapter 20. Ezekiel chapter 20 and verse 32. And that which cometh into your mind shall not be at all, that ye say, we will be as the heathen, and as the families of the countries to serve wood and stone. So let me read that one more time, Salaki. And that which come into your mind shall not be at all, that ye say, we will be as the heathen. So who's the heathen? The other nations. That's what Israel was saying. They want to be like the other nations. They don't want to keep the commandments. It's too strict for them. The diet to them is too strict. It's too much discipline for them. They want to have fun and everything. But it's not about having fun, right? As the families of the countries to serve wood and stone. So they don't want to worship the Most High. They want to see carnal things. They want to worship carnal things. They won't be able to see who they're worshiping, like wood and stone. Buddhism, Islam, they want to worship wood and stone. Okay, so now let's get Ecclesiastes chapter 12. Because we're not supposed to be worshiping no wood and stone. Where in the Bible does it say you can worship wood and stone? That's how off Israel got. Because we're spiritual. That's our gift. That's our spirit, because we're spiritual. We're not supposed to see things and everything. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1. Oh, so let me get that real quick. Let me get Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So just because we don't see it don't mean it's not there. You got angels, thousands and thousands of angels around you, and you don't even know it because you don't see it. But they're there to protect you. But you know how Jake is. If he don't see it, he's not going to believe it. Excuse me if I'm wrong. I believe it was Thomas. He didn't believe that Yahweh came unto the apostles and everything after he died. He said, I didn't see it and I don't believe it. Then Yahweh came to him. Hey, blessed be the man that believe and have not seen. So he had to get on him. He had to get on him for saying that, man. Because that was just off. So let's get Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. For fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. So the whole duty of man is to keep the commandments. Not to break the Sabbath and buy some pork and then make a pork sandwich and eat it in front of the prophet's face, man. It's not it's not supposed to be like that. You're not supposed to be going to college to get a doctorate degree. Because you're going so into that, so deep into the so-called white man's philosophies and everything. You're supposed to do things in moderation. Graduate high school and go about your business. Doesn't it say a man with a small business is wise? Right? So let's get 1 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 1. Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant. Ye know that you were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols, even as you were led. So, Apostle Paul, he's saying, look, y'all were Gentiles before you came to this truth. You was carrying to the dumb idols, meaning the dumb philosophies, the way of living of how the so-called white men live. So that's Paul getting on them, telling them that he won't have you ignorant. All right. Now let's get So yeah, you're Gentiles before you come to this truth because you're living with the so-called white man. Right? Now let's get 1 Maccabees. 1 Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 10. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been a hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. Right? Verse 11. And those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded men, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us, for since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So look, you got wicked Jake that's saying they want to go live the way like the heathen, making a covenant with the heathen, right? That's how Jake is, man. They want to follow the heathen. Verse 12. So this device pleased them well. 13. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. 14. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen, which is a gymnasium. If you look into the word of gymnasium and everything, it will tell you what a gym is really about. They only built gyms so the so-called white man can see people work out naked. You know, if you go back in time to do the history of it, just to see people work out naked and everything like that. That's how wicked the so-called white man and disgusting they are. Verse 15. And made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant. So what does it mean to be uncircumcised? It's not talking about your foreskin or anything like that. It's talking about not being in with his commandments and everything. Uncircumcised meaning you're following the ways of the Gentiles and not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. Right? And forsook the holy covenant. So it just told you right there. And joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to the mischief. So that's how they basically sold their souls, man. That's how these wicked jakes are, and you got the wicked jakes back on this earth right now. If you go to college and everything, and you do a fraternity, all those things are Greek ways, you know. You have to sell your soul to be in those things, man. So that's why they have all the women, all the money and everything, because they sold their souls to live like the Greeks. It's not actually selling your soul is not actually going to the doctor. They open up your body and everything. Oh, look, I got his soul. Okay, boom. Look, bro, no, it's not like that. You know? It's agreeing to do something, forsaking yourself to get money or get a gain in something. Denouncing the Most High. So, now let's get, now let's get Psalms chapter 1, or 6. Psalms chapter 106 and verse 34. They did not destroy the nations concerning them the Lord commanded them, but were mingled among the heathen and learned their works. So you had, Israelites, hanging out with the heathens and learning their works, getting used to what they're doing, because that spirit's hopping on them. If you hang out with a certain group of people, you're gonna start noticing that you're doing the same thing that they're doing. You don't even mean to. It's just that spirit hop onto you, and now you start doing the same things that they do. You can't help it. That's why you gotta learn how to pick and choose who you want to hang out with. So they started hanging out together. The heathen and the Israelites started hanging out together, and now they started picking up on how they live and the customs and everything and what they do. So let's get Psalms chapter 97 and verse 7. Psalms chapter 97 verse 7. Confounded be all that Salakia. Confounded be all they that serve graven images, that boast themselves to idols. Worship him, all ye gods. So you got Israelites worshiping the so-called white Jesus. We're in Revelation chapter 1 and verse 14 and down, explains how his skin complexion is a so-called black man. That's a false image. And you can understand in the Bible that the devil that Esau, which is the so-called white man, is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Out of all the nations and everything, the so-called white man is the only one that put out that false image of Hamashiach, of Christ. They did that so they can make us, to take us away from the truth. That false image. So now let's get John chapter 7. So let's get John chapter 7, verse 35. Then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he go, that we shall not find him? Will he go into the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles? So the Gentiles are the uncircumcised Jews. I mean, they don't know about Salakia. Let me read that one more time. Then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he go, that we shall not find him? Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles? So yeah, the Gentiles are the uncircumcised Jews. Was uncircumcised, not following the ways of the law, not keeping the commandments. So it's Israelites, but they following the ways of the Gentiles. You know, if you have ears to hear. So bear with me. Then now let's get Acts. The book of Acts. So Acts chapter 10 and verse 28, I believe. Okay. Acts chapter 10 and verse 28. And he said unto them, so this Peter's talking, and he said unto them, you know how that it is unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company or come unto one of another nation. Because back then, they knew that you can't hang out with the other nations. Because when you start hanging out with the other nations, you're going to pick up on how they live. It's unlawful. You're not supposed to be kissing, hugging, hanging out with the other nations, man. You can't be married or with a girl from the other nation. You know? But Jake nowadays, they just want to do what they want to do. But God have showed me that I should not call my man common or unclean. So it's not lawful to be hanging out with the other nations. So when you come into this truth and everything, look, cut that Edomite friend you have off, man. He's not gonna bring you no fruit. His iron gonna rust if you have ears to hear. If you got the Moabite friend, cut him off. You might get the coronavirus. You know. So now let's get Acts chapter 18 and verse 4. Acts chapter 18 and verse 4. And he seasoned Shalakia, and he reasoned in the synagogue every Sabbath and persuaded the Jews and the Greek. Right? So the Jews and the Greek, they're the same thing. The Jews and the Greeks are the same people. Right? But the Greeks are the Jews that agree with the philosophies of the Gentiles. Now let's get Acts chapter 16 and verse 1. Then came he to Derbe and Lystra, and behold, a certain disciple was there, named Timotheus, the son of a certain woman, which was a Jewess, and believed, but his father was a Greek. You see? So his father was a Jew, but he was a Greek. He didn't he followed the ways of the world. Again, if you have the ears to hear. So now let's get 2 Timothy. 2 Timothy chapter 1 and verse 2. 2 Timothy chapter 1. Shalakia. Paul, an apostle of Mashiach Yahushua, by the will of the Most High, according to the promise of life which is in Mashiach Yahushua, to Timothy, my dearly beloved son, grace, mercy, and peace from God the Father and Hamashiach Yahushua, our Lord. So if Timothy's dad wasn't a Jew or anything, why would Paul be writing a letter to Timothy? Right? Because Paul is a Israelite too. Let me get that. He's an Israelite. So if Timothy wasn't an Israelite or anything, or a Jew or anything like that, why would he be writing him a letter? Romans chapter 11 verse 1. So this Paul speaking, I say then, hath God cast away his people? God forbid. For I also am an Israelite, of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. And that's my favorite verse right there, to show you that Apostle Paul is a Israelite. Because in movies, they say he's the so-called white man. But in Romans chapter 11 verse 1, he's a so-called Jamaican. West Indies. You know? So again, the people that's being spake about in the Bible and everything are Israelites. You know? How in the Old Testament and everything, it's talking about the Israelites, and in the New Testament, it's saying everybody can get saved. The Lord don't change like that. you know. So Lord willing, it was edifying. Lord willing, you. Actually, let me get one more verse. Let's get Galatians. Galatians chapter 3 and verse 14. So before I get into this, you got to read the whole thing. You can't just jump to a verse. If you read the whole thing, it's talking about Israel, you know. So Galatians chapter 3 and verse 14. That the blessing of Abraham might come on the Gentiles through Hamashiach Yahushua, that we might receive the promise of the Spirit through faith. All right, let's jump down to 16 real quick. Let's read 15. Brethren, I speak after the manner of man. So what's brethren? The people that's from your lineage and everything. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Though it be but a man's covenant, yet if it be confirmed, no man disannuleth or addeth thereto. Now to Abraham and his seeds were the promise made. So what's that seed promise? The seed of promise? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Right? He saith not, and to the seeds as of many, but as of one, and to thy seed, which is Christ. Right? Now let's jump down to 26. For ye are the children of God by faith in Hamashiach Yahushua. So this whole thing is talking about the Jews and everything. It's not talking about everybody. You got to read the whole thing. This is a letter written to the Jews and everything, to the people in Galatia, right? To the Israelites in Galatia. Verse 27. For as many of you as have been baptized into Christ have put on Christ. For this word, people get confused. 28. There is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither bond nor free. There is neither male nor female. For ye are all one in Hamashiach Yahushua. And if you be Christ, then are ye Salakia. And if ye be Christ, then are ye Abraham's seed. And here's according to the promise. So what's the seed? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So it's talking about, this is a letter written to the Israelites and the Jews and everything in Galatia. You know, when you write a letter from, you know, Paul to these people, you know, to the Church of Corinth, you know. So that's who he's writing to. He's not talking about everybody. That's just a cut up and everything. So Lord willing, it was edifying. Shalom.